Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hello, traders. How are we? This is the first live stream of the week. I hope you all had a good weekend and didn't do anything that I wouldn't do. So you're pretty much free to do whatever you like. Guys, we are going to do the following. I am in 2 trades, which I will share with you in a few minutes. I got into one on Friday, and I'm literally entered a new trade today as well. So we're going to look at those. We'll also take a look at other trades I'm interested in. We're also going to take a quick look at the economic calendar, because whatever was said with the Royal Bank of Australia interest rate decision, whatever was said in here, right? We've seen some real strength in the Aussie dollar. All right. So I know a few guys in the indicator room had some nice trades on the back of that Aussie dollar strength. But we also have this later, guys. We've got Jolts, job openings, and that's 7 o'clock Dubai time, which is 3 p.m. UK time. Had to think about that then. So yeah, not big news coming out, guys. And then what else are we going to do? We're going to take as many of your questions as humanly bloody possible. So get all your questions over to me, guys, and I'll answer everything. You can also give me general knowledge questions if you like. Let me just skip that. I don't mind a quiz. I'm doing a quiz tonight, in fact. Am I a little bit delayed? Let me just check, guys. Am I a little bit delayed? Is that better? Yeah, if I am a little bit delayed, it's because we're going live on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. The power of technology. All right, guys. So yeah, I can see a few of you turning up now. So hi, Luigi. Hi, Nero. Hi, old man abroad. Are you an old man and do you live abroad? I'm guessing you are. Hi, Ravi. Hi, CJ. CJ, how's the horse or horses? Dan the Gooner, you have got to be a happy man this morning. It was a good weekend for Arsenal. And Niraj, hi. Hi, guys. How are you all? Let's start with Euro Pound. This is a trade that I am currently in. And I actually entered this on Friday. And this was one of my sell trade ideas as part of my weekly Forex forecast that I post every Saturday. So go check that out, guys. Yeah, honestly, the weekly Forex forecast, like everything's hitting target. Anyway, stop blowing your own trumpet, Tom. Let's have a look at this. So this was a key level that we wanted to break, right? This is the daily chart. We've hit it once, hit it twice, hit it again, and then finally we've broken down. All right. So if you're not in this trade, this is very much a good selling opportunity. I'm already in this. Okay. So we've broken that key low, right? And we've got this big, humongous bearish candle. It doesn't get more bearish than that, right? We call that a yogi. We don't really, but it's very bearish. So that's what you're looking at, guys. Daily is a sell all day. And if I zoom out a little bit, you can see, you know, again, guys, I say this every week, but if you break a level, right, chances are it will make it to the next level. It's as simple as that, guys, right? So, yeah, ready, got a level, break it, you know, it'll make it back down to the next level. That was a terrible example. But you get the idea, guys, right? We've got some room, and there's nothing really stopping it in here until we hit this support in here, right? So, yeah, sell trades all day long. If we look at the H4 now, you can also see this trend line coming down, right? We're in this H4 downtrend, and this is where we're at, right? Okay, so we're in this downtrend. I will actually do this, right? So I'm in this position, and you can see my sell trade here, right? Started selling there on Friday, stop loss up here, target here, right? Now, what I'm going to do is heavily reduce my stop loss. So probably around here to put it above this high, give it a little bit of room. And then you can see my alarm in here. If price comes back up and tests this trend line somewhere in here, test these lows, I will add another sell position. I will heavily reduce my risk, add a sell position. And then if I do hit target, this becomes more like a 1.5 is to 1 or a, rather than a 1 is to 1, because I've built the trade. Call me Bob. So Euro pound, guys, in that looking good. And the other one I entered today is Canadian dollar Swiss franc buys. So this was really a weekly idea, right? So this was, like I say, this was part of my weekly Forex forecast, guys, right? That I put out on YouTube Saturday. So if we just follow weekly structure, that's roughly where we're at. Well, not roughly, that's where we're at, right? Broken those highs, we're getting higher highs, and these lows have held. All of this in here does not represent a significant enough high or low, right? It just simply doesn't, right? So only these are the levels that count. Okay, so we're in an uptrend. We've got a nice bullish weekly candle bounce off that level as well. And then what I really like is this day chart. So we was in this, we are still really in a downtrend, right? This is more of a weekly plus H4 trend trade. But, right, price come up and you can see all these candles in here, right? All these candles have rejected this resistance level. But yesterday's bullish candle, right, the body of this candle broke all of those wicks. I would suggest we haven't quite broken this resistance level yet. So it's a reasonably aggressive entry, right? But like I say, so we've got a question here from Ravi. Is Canadian dollar Swift not a daily support and resistance area? Yes, but what I've done is combine the weekly chart with H4 trend. All right. So plus a very bullish daily candle that broke all these highs in here. And if we drop down to the H4, right, potentially. So it was in here. You can see that important level in here, right? You can see that important level through there. But bang, right? We broke it. The daily candle broke it. And now we've retraced to our smart river, which is part of our price action indicator. And while I am on the subject of our price action indicator, firstly, it's kicking ass. And secondly, the next 5 people who sign up for the indicator will get a free $5,000 funded challenge. All right. So next 5 people sign up for the indicator, you will get a $5,000 funded challenge. So go check it out right now. All right. So yeah, Canadian dollar Swiss franc. This is where it could come down to here. I've put an alarm in here. If it breaks these lows, then potentially I want to get out early, right? But yeah, I like this trade. Yeah, and that's it, guys. That's the 2 trades that I am in. What else did I like the look at? I still like the look of Euro Canadian dollar sells, right? But I just haven't been able to get into this yet. And if, when it comes to highly correlated pairs, if you think of Canadian dollar Swiss franc, which I am buying, right? Euro Canadian dollar, let me spell it out, guys. Not easy to write with a mouse pen. In fact, that is my neatest mouse pen writing yet. Quite proud of this, right? But that is almost an identical trade. They're almost, they're probably about 90% inversely correlated, right? So if Canadian dollar, Swiss franc does that, Euro CAD does that. Dancing on the live stream. Yeah, so there you go, guys. Now, I would still get into the Euro Canadian dollar. If we go to the day chart, it's just a little bit messy at the moment, right? So on the daily, yeah, I'm going to say that we're still in this uptrend, really, right? We haven't broken these lows or even these lows, but we are getting very bearish wicks now, right? So everything's telling me we could take it down to this level on the daily. And the weekly, look at that candle. If that's not a big bearish bad boy of a candle as well, right? That's telling me to sell this as well, right? If we go to the H4, you know, I'm just waiting for potentially this. If we get another retrace up to here, then I'll be interested, because I've got lots of room to move into, and therefore I can have lots of room for my stop loss, right? I like this. And I actually did a tutorial today in the VIP Discord about the advantages of having a big stop loss. So go check it out, VIP crew. So yeah, there you go, guys. I'll be waiting for that retrace on Euro Canadian dollar, or we don't get that retrace, right? And price just keeps hurtling down. Then obviously, you know, I'm going to wait for something like this. Maybe this happens and we get a break, right? Get a break, retest, and then we come lower. All right, so that's pretty much everything I'm looking at, guys. And as always, right, if you want all of my trade ideas, right, as and when they happen, Euro pound sell, there's the entry, there's the stop loss, there's the TP, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc buy trade, entry, stop loss, TP. If you want all of this, obviously ahead of time, otherwise it would be pointless, then please go check out our Discord channel. So come join our free Discord channel, guys. The link is in the video description. Also, there's a free live stream to everyone on our Discord channel every Sunday, which sets you up nicely for the trading week. All right, so go check that out as well. Right, what are we going to look at? So, yeah, afternoon, guys. Highest zone, CJ. One is effed in a horse hospital in Newmarket, and one's still getting better up in bloody Yorkshire, ready for the year. Okay, so all right, so you know, 1 out of 2 is not bad, CJ. This is good. Hi, Nicholas. So CJ, yeah, CJ's one of the guys using our price action indicator. January was a good month as its profits made will cover those expensive hospital bills. Right, good. I'm glad it helps. Tony, hi. S-Zone, your strategy and explanation is amazing, Tom. S-Zone, thank you very much. I will pay you later. Also from S-Zone, please, Tom, what do you think of the fundamentals of the major currency pairs? That is the most broadest question I've ever been asked, S-Zone. Let me have a drink of water. While I do that, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash that like button. Also, guys, please go check out, if you look above my head, please go check out the website. You can get access to all of our premium education on there. Please come join our free Discord community. It's free, right? And also, please check out the promotion we've got running with our world-class preferred broker, Pepperstone. We're going to give you free VIP access. We're going to give you a free Essential Trading View subscription, and we're going to give you over 4 hours of a price action masterclass, guys. Right? It's a no-brainer. Go join Pepperstone. Right, let me have a drink of water. I had my barnet chopped. That means my hair cut. Nobody's noticed. Nobody said, Tom, what a lovely haircut you have, or anything. More grey than ever. That's the only problem. Right, so please, Tom, what do you think of the fundamentals of the major currency pairs? Right, so I don't think anything. right? So obviously the economic calendar, right? So news today, the Royal Bank of Australia interest rate decision, the policy statement, the rate statement, this led to Aussie dollar strength, right? Now, ahead of time, you cannot predict that, right? You would be guessing. It's the same with jolts, right? People ask me, "Oh, Tom, which way should I trade the US dollar with the jolts employment data coming out?" I'm like, flip a coin, right? Nobody knows. I don't know what those figures are going to be that come out for the jolts job openings, and sometimes they're better than expected, and the US dollar tanks. Sometimes they're worse than expected, and the US dollar tanks, or vice versa. So I don't, it's not the right word, not that I don't care about fundamentals, but the fundamentals are in the chart, right? So I mean, if I randomly pick anything, right, silver, right? If you go to the day chart, right, I mean, let's go to the weekly chart, right? Now, we are in an uptrend. Okay, so fundamentally, silver is strong. Whatever news, it doesn't matter what the news is, what fundamental macroeconomic geopolitical news drives the strength of silver. It doesn't matter. We just know it's in an uptrend, so we want to buy, right? You know, if we went to, let's go to a yen pair, pound yen. Right, let's go to the day chart. Right, we are in an uptrend stroke range. Right, so that's telling me that pound is strong and yen is weak. And if you dive into the fundamentals, it will show you pound is strong and yen is weak. Right, I don't need fundamentals. Okay, and another thing with fundamentals is this, right? So, you know, everyone's a gold buyer, right? And this big retrace has led to a lot of people getting in on buys. Now, if I said to you, right, fundamentally, guys, because central banks are buying up gold, because the US dollar weakness, because gold is a flight to safety and the indices are dropping, I am fundamentally buying gold. And you'll be like, brilliant. I'll say, go on then, buy it. And you'll be like, where, when, how, what's a good price, what's a bad price? So that's the important thing, right? Obviously, fundamentals drive the chart, right? Without fundamentals, there would be no volatility, right? There would be no, volatility, right? There would be no movement. There's nothing moving it, right? It would be only traders moving it. But obviously, we don't live in a world like that, and the stock exchanges and everything wouldn't exist. But you know, fundamentals move the market. Price action and reading the charts is how you find a good entry, right? So there's my couple of pence on that. Right, what else are we looking at? Nero, whenever I look at the chart, I go to what's WWTD? Okay, but my chart view is simple, and that's how you should keep it. Nero, I didn't notice the haircut. Definitely noticed the bigger traps. Yeah, just been chewing on tuna and doing shrugs. Lee, how are we? Hi, Tom. Was last week's sell-off with the precious metals a coincidence with the dollar rebound and announcement of new Fed chair, or not natural market correction? Right, okay, you lot are dragging me into fundamentals here. So this is my couple of pence, right? Now, everything stems from the indices, right? Because the indices represent the economy, right? The indices are a very accurate representation of the state of the economy, obviously, right? So, generally speaking, if the NASDAQ is doing this, right, and ultimately, guys, right, we're still in this daily up, okay, we broke that low, but then bang, right, we're in an uptrend. We're getting higher highs, higher lows. Excuse me, I had about 15 digestive biscuits before going on a live stream. And I always say to myself, stop eating digestive biscuits. But do I listen? No. I consider myself a very disciplined trader, but you put some biscuits in front of me, I am a weak man. Anyway, NASDAQ, right? The thing is, correlations are breaking, right? So the NASDAQ, right, had a sell-off and now it's bounced back up. So the problem here is 1 minute it's risk off, the next minute it's risk on, right? And that makes investors wary and it makes them skeptical, right? They're not sure if it's a risk off or a risk on environment. But typically, if it's risk on, right, gold is weak, right? Now, and yen, right? But your question was about gold, so let's have a look at gold, right? So, but let's go back to Friday. All right, I'm going to go back in time, and all those little trades you're seeing, guys, is a New York Open strategy that I'm working on. Again, I'm going to share this in the VIP Discord, guys. So come join it. This little opening strategy for the New York, yeah, very, very good results. Anyway, let's focus on this. So this was Friday's candle, right? A big sell-off. Okay. Now, if we go to gold, right? Friday's candle, a big sell-off. So that shouldn't happen, right? Because if we go back to the NASDAQ, remember, if the indices are coming down, it generally means the economy is in bad shape, right? This is only a daily candle, don't forget, right? Not, right? So in this scenario, gold should be strong. So there has been a break of correlation, right? Also, if we go back to now, we had this big bullish candle, right? Risk on environment. Gold should be weak. But if we go to gold now, it's strong. So what gold definitely shouldn't do is mimic the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ did this and then did this, right? And this is what this is doing. So something's wrong, right? Correlations will hold, right? They may not hold from day to day or week to week, but from month to month, right? They typically hold. So my question is, who's wrong, right? Is gold wrong or are the indices wrong? Are we going to see more risk off or more risk on? And will gold eventually fall back into the correlation? Right now, whether this was just a sell-off, right, or people taking profit, I can't help but think that's people taking profit, right? And they've taken profit and, probably gotten him back in down here, right? So, because I wouldn't really say this was geopolitically led, right? Because if you think of geopolitics, we've still got these ongoing tariffs, Greenland, Gaza, Ukraine, right? There's, generally speaking, gold would be strong in these turbulent times. So I still think gold will remain strong this year. And we've had a really nice pullback to enter. But does that mean the indices will have a bit of a sell-off and feed into that gold? That we're not so sure of, because the indices are pretty, if we look at it on the weekly, right, from about, what's the date here? From about October 25, right, we've pretty much stayed between here and here, right? We're not trending really anymore, right? So if we break these, okay, then, okay, right, the indices keep ticking up, right? If we break this, I think we've got room to the downside. But if price just stays in between here and here, right, you're just going to have a very volatile, well, you're just going to have a lot of further confusion, right? It's not a risk on, it's not a risk off. We're in this, sort of just ranging market. And the reasons for that, guys, it's just speculation. So I don't want to speculate. Right? I just trade what I see. So yeah, there you go, Lee. Hope that helps. Okay. Yeah, and also with regards to this, yeah, a new Fed chair. So Trump has it in for Fed Chair Powell, right? He's what's he doing? He's what's the word I'm looking for? He's looking into him. What is he doing? What's the right word? Tick brain into gear. But he's looking into Fed Chair Powell and all these previous things that he's done at the Fed, right? And, he's trying to, get some dirt on him so he can remove him from the Fed. And then Trump will replace him with someone who will basically be his puppet, right? And if that person is his puppet, he will lower interest rates. And that is very much pro-business. So if we get lower interest rates, you will see the indices tick on. Right? So yeah, there you go. There's my couple of pence. And guys, I understand fundamentals. There was a stage there that I very much traded fundamentals along with technicals. But ultimately, I was just speculating on what fundamentals could or couldn't be. That's all it is speculation with fundamentals. Whereas technicals is cold, hard facts on a chart. Right? So I prefer cold, hard facts, not speculation. So there you go. Okay. Digestives are the best biscuits. Yeah, I like a custard cream, I must say. Yeah, this could also be true, Lee, right? So new Fed chairs aren't an everyday occurrence. So investors, institutions close their positions out of fear, maybe. Absolutely. But the thing is, it's speculation, what you've just said. Nobody knows, right? All we know is we had a sell-off. And then just look how quickly the markets come back, right? The markets want to do that. Governments want the markets to do that, right? Because it means, companies are doing well, they're employing people, the economy is hot, whereas the central banks, they don't want this and they don't want that. The central banks want this, right? Their job is to not have the economy too hot or not have the economy too cold. They just want this very homeostasis, steady market, right? So yeah, there you go. Picking on Powell. Yeah, he is picking on Powell. Yeah, puppet. Yes. Exactly. Show me the chart and I'll tell you the facts. Amen, Daniel. I agree with that comment. Yeah, so again here, guys, correlations. Now, correlations over the long term are set in stone, I would say. Right? If you look at 6 months of data, you can go to those correlation tables, right? Look at a correlation table between gold and the indices over 6 months, right? And gold against the indices will be negatively correlated, right? If indices do that, gold does that. If indices do that, gold does that. Yeah, so negatively correlated. And that will happen over 6 months. But daily, weekly, you're going to get breaks of those correlations. Just focus technicals all the way. Okay, and then S Zone here says, and again, Tom, how do you correlate the indices with Forex pairs? So just let's go through some correlations that you need to be aware of, right? Before we do, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and smash the like button. And if you want to learn about technicals, about correlations, about fundamentals, then go check out this promotion, right? You've got 2 weeks left. Let me just show you this quickly. Traders, it's 2026, and if you're here, then I'm sure you want to make this the year where you start trading like a pro and start achieving real consistency and real results. Right now, there is 50% off the Simply Forex complete trading course, jam-packed with almost 20 years of my trading experiences, skills, strategies, and tools. And if that's not enough, once you have completed the course, you will get 2 one-hour mentorship sessions with me, Trader Tom, included in the price. This offer finishes on the 15th of February, so don't delay. Click on the link in the vid description and use the code at checkout. Right, guys, so go check that out. Under 2 weeks left. We will not do that promotion again, and you will not get 2 hours of mentorship with me as well. So go check it out. Right, back to S Zone's question. Tom, how do you correlate the indices with Forex pairs? Right, so these are some correlations you must be aware of. Right, correlation number 1 is all about the indices. Right, there's more correlations than this, but this is the main one. These are the main ones. Right now. So if the indices are doing this, right, that is risk on. Okay. And in a risk on environment, this means investors are happy to invest in riskier assets. And riskier assets are basically stocks, right? They are risky assets. Okay, so that's why you see an uptick in indices, right? So it tells you there's a risk on environment. And the impact on Forex pairs is this: Aussie dollar, right, becomes strong. And to a certain point, New Zealand dollar, right? Aussie dollar almost drags New Zealand dollar along, right? So Aussie dollar becomes strong in a risk on. What becomes weak is pound, basically yen, right? This becomes weak. Gold is meant to become weak, but we've spoke about that correlation break. And Swiss franc is a flight to safety as well, right? So these all become weak. Okay. Now, if the indices start doing this, we are in a risk off environment. Okay, so investors do not want to invest in riskier assets like stocks. They'll be looking for bonds or treasury bonds, things that are very secure, right? And in this, or they might even sit on cash, right? Now, in this risk off environment, the opposite is true. Aussie dollar will become weak, and all of these flight to safeties will become strong. Okay, so that's one correlation that you need to be aware of, right? The next one really is to do with oil, right? Now, I wanted to bring this up earlier on actually, because if we look at oil, right, remember I'm looking at Canadian dollar. Actually, let's step at a time. I'm jumping the gun as usual. So oil, right? If oil is doing this, so oil is in an uptrend, okay, then the Canadian dollar is also bullish, right? Because Canadian dollar is a big exporter of oil. And if the oil price is high, this is bullish for the currency, right? So that's another correlation you must be aware of. Now, bearing this in mind, right, and obviously the opposite is true. If oil is doing this, Canadian dollar is doing this. So if you think of my trades at the moment, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc buys, and I'm looking at euro Canadian dollar sells. So what I'm looking at is Canadian dollar strength. And right now, we are at a beautiful level for oil buys. In fact, I think Dan in our Discord is buying oil right now, right? I don't blame him. This is at a really nice level. So if you think about this could potentially be a lovely area for oil to do that. Therefore, my Canadian dollar Swiss franc trade, which I'm buying, right? If oil does this, Canadian dollar does this. So if Canadian dollar is strong, Canadian dollar Swiss franc pushes up. So that plays into the idea of my Canadian dollar strength trades, right? And this was another piece of confluence for me to take that trade. Okay, so yeah, there's a few other correlations, guys. But like I say, go check out my course. You've got that promotion for just under 2 weeks. But yeah, looking at oil, guys, if we get a nice bullish candle here today, I think that is a nice trade back up to here. Because if you look at the weekly as well, look at the weekly candle. That is strong. Right? We have come to resistance, but even still, that's strong. I think we can come back up to here. Again, we spoke about geopolitics and macroeconomics. Now, everything going on in Iran impacts oil, right? So if Iran becomes very volatile, this will generally increase the price of oil, right? If the Iran situation is quickly resolved, that will put weakness into oil, right? So there you go. Right, what else are we looking at, guys? Just focus. Do you think gold will see under 4K this way? See if it will go under 4K. Okay, so you're looking at this level. So let's put that level in, and then let's look at the really big time frame. Let's start with monthly on oil. Now, looking at the monthly, right? Yeah, we're in an uptrend, but look at that. Look at that big rejection. And look at where, so this is our smart river, which again is part of our price action indicator, right? And the next 5 people who sign up with our indicator will get $5,000 of capital, right? In a funded challenge. Come join our Discord, guys. You can see all our promotions in there, right? So if you think about it, monthly is very overbought. I don't need to bring up the RSI indicator. This will show overbought, right? And we're miles away from, this is basically the average of the market, the mean of the market. So this is looking potentially like there could be a further retrace. Now, is 4,000 a good level? Let's have a look at the weekly now. Now, if you look at the weekly, right? You've got this. This is only really the last level we can see on this chart because it's been so like this. It's difficult to pinpoint levels, but this is very much a level, right? We haven't quite hit it, to be fair. Okay. Now, when you don't have many levels, right, we've got this, but also the smart river. Now, this is made up of using the moving average 20 plus some other data. So this becomes a very good area for dynamic support or resistance, but support in this case, right? So I would want to see price come down to the smart river. Then I think potentially we've got a good buying opportunity. So for it to come all the way down to 4,000, although it is a big psychological level, I would probably be looking to get into this trade before that, right? Like I say, around this level here, if we start seeing bullish, if we start seeing buyers in control. Now, the level you don't want to see break, well, not don't want to see break, but this, you know, this could become an important level here, right? And this is the last important level, really. So if we do get something like this, and then it breaks, right, some lows in here, then okay, I think we can make its way down. But while we're in this uptrend, I don't want to, you know, start selling into an uptrend. Yeah. So gold, yeah, is a tricky one, really. I mean, even on the daily, we had that massive sell-off, but we're still in a daily uptrend. Because really, like I say, because there's next to no levels, because price has just done that, you know, we're now trading above the smart river, right? Could this be a good place to start buying? The answer for that for me really is no, because I do not want to buy into that candle. And this is the problem we have with gold at the moment. We're clearly in an uptrend. We're very overbought, and we have a massive weekly selling candle. So I don't want to buy it, and I don't want to sell it because we're in an uptrend and everything fundamentally, geopolitically is supporting gold strength, right? So it's a stay away from me for the time being. Right, what else are we looking at? Yeah, so gold isn't balancing all those imbalances. Yeah, there's too much conflicting information with gold, right? So unfortunately, gold has been very difficult to trade. It goes back to what I was saying, right? But, you know, we were saying, right, fundamentally, gold's a buy trade. This is a very good point, right? Now, let's imagine you're here. Let's go back in time. I've got to make this point before we leave, right? Let's say we're here, right? And I say to you, fundamentally, gold's a buy, right? Forget technicals. You're right. Okay, fundamentally, it's a buy. I'm buying, right? Technically, I would never do that. But fundamentally, it's a buy trade. And then a couple of days later, you're like, oh, my God, what has happened, right? I've just been blown out of my trade. All right. So, yeah, technicals is what you need to know in order to take advantage of fundamentals. And on that note, we shall leave it there, guys, right? So, guys, please don't forget to join me tomorrow for more of the same on the live stream, 12 p.m. GMT. Also, guys, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And please come join our free Discord channel. All right, guys, see you next time.